Hey, coming up next is our interview with comic creator Siya Oum, whose new Neo Wonderland is on Kickstarter right now. For those
Link
of
in
you,
the description.
for those of you curious enough to check out a new Cyberpunk comic coming out from one of our better creators.
Check it out. Here it is.
Hey everybody, we're here with Siya Oum. We're going to be talking mostly about her new series coming out called Neo Wonderland, which is a Kickstarter right now. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Great. So why don't you start us off by just running us through a little bit about what Neo Wonderland is?
So Neo Wonderland is a cyberpunk story. It's about two brothers, and it takes place on a man-made island called Shangrila, and so the rest of the world is run by an AI constitution. So this island is kind of like rogue, and it doesn't really have a lot of rules, and it kind of abide by like some of the the way that things are now, and everybody thinks it's this scrappy little place, and the rest of the world doesn't really pay much attention to it. And then they realize that this place, because of how it is, this metropolis is kind of causing a lot of influence and problems with the rest of the world. So that's kind of where our main characters, like, this is how they get involved with the rest of the world, essentially. And I've never said this in any other podcast, so this is the first time I'm saying this. So the main character's name is Saint, and he was in prison for 10 years for murder, and he was in there as a child. So he has a younger brother that, was out there and with his single mom for 10 years of his life. So he comes out of prison. He thinks everything is kind of the same. He tries to, go home and rekindle his relationship with his younger brother. And it turns out that his younger brother has moved into the city, and he's working for a shady, well, he's a tax collector. And he basically is working for one of the ruthless mobs in Shangrila. And so when Saint finds out, he's like, okay, I got to get my brother out of debt because he's in all this debt. And so he tries to find legal means to help repay his debt back. And then the more he tries, the more that he gets sucked into this world. And with all legal options exhausted, he basically becomes an assassin. So that's the gist of the story.
And what inspired the story for you?
Well, I mean, I was influenced by a lot of anime and video games and movies early on. Like, one of the ones that I really liked was Boondock Saints was one of my favorites.
Yeah. It's a great series. Yeah.
Isn't it? And then, like, I love it so much. There's something about them being so, I mean, it's kind of quirky and fun too.
Very,
which is what I loved. William Dafoe was amazing in that movie. So, and then, it was like Devil May Cry, video games, Fallen Angels by Wong Kar-wai, one of my favorite Hong Kong films, and Rurouni Kenshin. So a lot of everything I got my hands on because I was digesting so much media as a kid. Yeah. I just kind of mashed it all together, and I came up with the AI Constitution concept. Either it was 5 or 6 years ago, because it just seemed like something that would happen. Because, we don't really trust ourselves to do a lot of things. And now I feel like I don't think that anything I thought up was very unique, because now we have this AI revolution happening here with current times. And so, so that's it.
I love the cyberpunk angle on it. We don't, I don't think we get enough good cyberpunk these days. I love things like Neuromancer. Way back when,
and Blade Runner, right?
Blade Runner is one of my all-time favorite movies. And I feel like we get a couple of things here and there, but we really don't get enough comics, I think, anymore as far as cyberpunk goes. Not American comics, anyway. And again, unfortunately, I am kind of ignorant of like the Japanese manga and stuff like that. Yeah. I know some of it, like I know Akira, of course, and a lot of that stuff. But unfortunately, I really need to catch up on all that because I feel a little bit out of date, having missed a lot of that stuff.
I feel, to be honest with you, I miss out on a lot of American comics and manga, because once you start your career in comics, you're mostly reading the scripts that you're given to work on, or you're working your own stuff. Yeah. So there's always a peripheral view of everything that's just zooming right past you. And trust me, when you said Akira, I'm like, of course Akira influenced my work. And of course Blade Runner. I think I've said it in Ghost in the Shell. So there's a lot of that. And, the early Jim Lee, X-Men #1 was my exposure to a lot of those comics and that concept and everything. It felt like it could be cyberpunk, in my opinion. So, yeah, I agree with you, like with not having enough of that media. And I think that's kind of why I decided to work on this story now. I feel like it would just be something I would have fun with. And maybe that would just fill a little niche somewhere in comics, I guess.
Yeah, and the concept of it taking place on a man-made island is especially very cyberpunkish too. I love that. It's
I know.
great.
Oh, so
Yeah.
unique.
Yeah, no, but it's a great setting for that kind of story. You know, it's sort of like completely unnatural location. You know, with people who start edging out in existence. You know. Yeah, and
so for you,
go, right?
the creative process, you're both the artist and the writer of this. So can you take us through your creative process? I mean, this be the first time we have interviewed someone who is doing the writing and the art on their comic book. Most of the times we have the writer on or the artist on, and we talk about how they relate to each other. How does it work for you as both?
Well, I first started out writing. So my first comic writing was Lola XOXO with Aspen Comics, and so I wrote full scripts because Josh had to letter it. All the guys at Aspen had to edit the script and make sure everything was flowing. So I wrote full scripts, and I learned from doing 3 volumes of that how to do full scripts. This time around, though, like a lot of manga, sometimes they don't actually have full scripts, like the artists that are also writers. So I've learned to take some shortcuts. I did write the full script 2 years ago, and I scrapped like 60% of it, I think, the specifics. And so I'm like, you know what? I already have an outline. I've had this story for 20 years, so I don't need the whole entire full script. I've been writing the dialogue on the page itself while I'm penciling. I'll scan it in so I know what I wrote, and then I ink it and then just write it down later because I'm probably going to letter myself too. Who knows?
Well, so you're also inking too. So you're inking it and
coloring.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
It's all me. I'm like, hey, if I'm going to go down with this ship, this is going to be my ship. So it's all me.
Well, yeah, that's a lot of work to take on. Yeah, there aren't many people who do every single part. No, not much these days.
Yeah, I agree. I know. I don't want to think about it right now, but it's like when I first started my career, I kind of knew early on. I'm like, if no one ever publishes me, I probably need to learn how to do everything. And this was early 2000s, so I was going to college, learned Photoshop, was a colorist for a few years for Aspen, did cover art. And then, I started learning how to pencil, and then I got to pencil, at DC and then doing covers at Marvel. So I jumped around and did little tasks, all like just being like a journeyman, basically, just to get to the point where I could feel comfortable doing my own thing and then having it, my vision the way I want it to be. Not to say that I would love to hire people if I had the money, but that's just not reality right now. So, it's okay for me to do a jack of all trades, and hopefully something stands out, with this whole thing.
That's impressive. It's impressive. Yeah, I mean, just writing full script is a lot of work, and penciling everything. That each part of those is a whole job that somebody does.
Exactly. That's why I only do half of everything. I'm only doing half scripts, and I'm rough pencils, nothing crazy. And the inking and the coloring is the only thing that's like full on. I have to do those things precisely, and so. But other than that, everything else is kind of like tidbits of stuff. And, I've talked to Francis about this and Pete Tomasi when I was working on Rockefellers with him. And Francis is the same way where he does rough layouts, and his layouts are amazing. They're little tiny things, and I learned from him, and he basically goes from that and he goes, his pencils are rough and then his inks. So he has a process, and he writes too. So he knows where to take some shortcuts. And I think learning from him, I think, and absorbing that and then asking Sean Murphy some questions about that whole process. I think I've kind of merged the two together, that I'm aware of like their process and my own. So I'm not the only one, but definitely those guys are the best ones to look at in terms of writer artist.
Right. And just so we're clear, Francis
Manipul.
I love Francis.
We love his stuff.
Work. Love his.
Absolutely love it.
One of my favorites, and I've met him a couple times. Really nice guy too.
Oh, he's a sweetheart.
Very nice guy.
Yeah.
So that's a good way to go. So besides them, who are your influences in the comic book industry? We've talked about your movie influences on Neo Wonderland. What about from the comic book side? Who do you really look up to? Who do you think has really helped you out and got you where you are today? In this crazy position where you're writing, inking, penciling.
Should I blame these guys for it now?
Are you are you marketing too? You're the marketer on this too?
Well,
yes. Yeah, I'm definitely the marketer on this one. I'm dressed up as Bob Ross for Halloween, and I'm like, I'm just close your eyes and do it. Put the beard on, just go for it. And I had so much fun. I'm kind of like sad that I have to hang that cape or hat or wig, the wig. But my influences are definitely Sean Murphy. And Joe Benitez took me under his wing when I was working on Lady Mechanika, so I learned a lot from him and Marcia and their dynamics. And I mean, I loved his art since I was, I was into a lot of Top Cow books, and Michael Turner was a huge influence on me. Didn't get to work with him but one time, but I was at Aspen for a long time, so I definitely got a lot of influences from him for a long time. And Jim Lee was my first, and Mark Silvestri, of course. But currently it's probably Sean. I think it's the closest I could think of right now in terms of what I'm doing. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Now, when you were working with Lady Mechanika, that was you said that was Top Cow, right?
Oh, sorry. That's Joe Benitez. So it's Benitez Productions before they went to Image. So now Image is publishing the books. But before that, I was doing the Kickstarter with Joe's company.
Yeah. And for anybody who hasn't seen Lady Mechanika, that's a steampunk series, right? Yeah. And am I wrong, or was that originally started by Neil Gaiman? Did he write the first script or something? Was he involved at the beginning? Maybe I'm wrong. I might be thinking of something different.
There was a book. There was a steampunk one. I saw it. It's almost like Lady Mechanika. I don't know who wrote that one, but
so I might be confusing two different things. Yeah. Yeah.
So this one's from the get-go. I think, so Joe had this, and then Marcia came in and wrote it, but he was writing it. So I think it was the first few issues came out through Aspen when Joe did it. And then he took it and then made his own production or his own publishing company, and then co-wrote it with Marcia. So that's where it's at right now, I guess.
Right. And if people want to pick up the trades, those come from Image, right?
I think so.
To check that work out.
They're so beautiful. I still love his work. Every time I see it, I'm just blown away. I'm so embarrassed to have my work next to him, but that's just me,
Yeah.
It's never gonna ever not be that way.
So what made you go to the direction of using Kickstarter? Why are you doing a Kickstarter for this one? Because I know a lot of creators do that, and we've promoted a lot of creators that have done it.
Yeah.
What made you decide to go with Kickstarter on Neo Wonderland?
I think it's because I know I'm doing it myself, if I'm being very honest. I know I'm doing it myself. So there's a certain pacing you need, and because I can't turn in a full script to my publisher and they can't approve it. It's like, well, if I'm working in like a jigsaw puzzle almost, it's going to be kind of hard to get a publisher to be like, okay. And I have a really awesome fan base on my YouTube and my Instagram and stuff. And we're very close in the sense that I live stream and we talk about stuff and we have inside jokes, and it's like, but I also know that there's a lot of up and coming or just artists that really like just the sketch and rough stuff and the black and white versions of my stuff. So I decided the Kickstarter is the only way to get a sketchbook in there, a black and white edition, and a full on story, color, and everything. So that was like the best way to go about it. And if we raise a certain amount of money, then it's like, oh, dude, we get perfect bound and not just saddle stitch. So it's just little things like that. And like stickers. It's so
there are exclusives for people who contribute to the Kickstarter, and in the link is in the description below of the Kickstarter. So contribute, and you can get what are some of the exclusives that people have out that they can get.
Like I said, it was going to be like the black and white edition, sketchbook, cute stickers. There's a special tier for the cat in my comic book. His name is Pocky, and there's like a super fan. I mean, I thought it was funny. Super fan for the cat. So he has his own T-shirt, sketch cover.
Nice.
All sorts of stuff. So there's it's kitty swag, and there's stickers. There's like a couple of T-shirts. I didn't want to go overboard with a lot of the swag because this is my first Kickstarter. I want to manage it, and even at metal covers, of course, 4 variant covers. They're all me. It's all just me for now. But the next one, hopefully, I'm like gonna ask my friends for some covers. But I just wanted to keep it simple. But even as simple and as concise as I thought it was, it has gotten to a point where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a lot more overwhelming than I thought it was going to be. You know, little things that like stretch goals and stuff like that. And if people they had questions about certain things, and then I wasn't specific on something when I thought I knew what I was, like I said, oh, ash can. And someone's like, what's an ash can? I'm like, oh, so not everybody knows what an ash can is.
Love ash cans. I love ash cans. I can't tell you why I love ash cans.
Yeah, you've been buying a lot.
I have been. I love ash cans.
I do too. And so that was my early bird special, was the ash can, and we got 244. And so I'm going to number every one of them. And luckily Kickstarter shows you when someone backed. And so I'm
Right.
able to put one out of, 244. And I saw the first person and I told Vince, I'm like, hey, Vince, your ash can's number 5. So good job. But
You know what I think it is about the ash cans and why people like them? It has that same feeling as the old zines.
yeah,
Like you feel like
yes.
it's something somebody made at home and you get to take.
And I think that's
it feels,
part of it for me.
It feels homemade. It feels
it's
special.
unique, and
yeah.
it's so much less than a regular comic. There's so many less made than a regular.
Oh
comic
yeah,
book.
of course. Well,
And I
there's
just-
that factor too.
It connects to me. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I bought
And
a staple.
Yes.
Just so I could do it myself, but it disappoints me because it's supposed to be able to open up and staple. It didn't work, and I'm like, it bends, right? So I'm like, what? I thought I was going to be able to do that myself. So what? I'm gonna have to get it printed.
You've hit on a pet peeve of mine. In the real world, we are teachers,
We are.
and nobody makes a good stapler anymore.
No, there's no such
I
thing.
remember the old ones we used to have with the black ones that were longer, right?
Yes.
And super heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
And
don't
the
make
staples
good
are nice
staplers.
too.
Get those
The
anymore.
staples were hardcore. Yes, exactly. That's what I was thinking. So I went and got one. I'm like, oh, it opens up, and I tried it a dozen times. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be able to make my own
terrible.
ash cans, but
Yeah.
I guess Kinko's could do it. But
There you go. They don't make good stapler anymore. That's going to be the headline.
They don't make good staplers anymore. Yeah, that's
like
why
the red
zines-
stapler from Office Space.
Yeah. Every time you mention stapler, that's what I think of. Where's my stapler?
I know, me too.
Break
I'm
my
gonna burn this
stapler.
whole place down.
Well,
That was my favorite movie during college. I couldn't stop watching that movie.
oh my
I-
god.
My
I
whole life
actually-
is about that.
I lived that movie for many, many years. I worked felt exactly like he felt. Then I just gave up and became a teacher. So I actually gave up.
So you got a stapler. They gave you a
Stepped up.
stapler.
I got a stapler. They gave me a stapler. I actually took a stapler on the way out. The funny part is they had one of those. I don't know if you would even know those old metal ones. They used to have these big metal ones, and I took one of those.
Yeah, those are the ones that were good.
No, those are
Yeah, I know. You still have it? Can I borrow it?
Right? I'll mail it to you.
I'll send it to you. Now you have a very passionate fan base. How important is it with your YouTube channel to connect to them like one-on-one with your projects and what you're currently working on?
I think whether it's YouTube or let's just say Instagram or whatever social media, I've been doing it for a long time. I mean, I've been around since like MySpace in terms of social media.
Oh, okay.
And that was a weird one because there's a lot of things that happen there that are, very interesting people. But I really, I feel like, I just feel like
Sweet way to put it.
yes, exactly. I just feel like it's important to connect with people so that people know that you're a person on the other side too. And then I could also with them as well. And it's like, it gets you into less arguments online because there's another person on the other side. And the only time I don't get into I never get into arguments, but I don't take something personally if someone attacks me because I'm like, I don't know if you're 15 years old on the other side or 60. I don't know if you're really a person or if someone just botted me. I have no idea. And so that's why I don't get into arguments and discussions online because it's like, I don't know what I'm dealing with. So it's like, I'm a crazy person if I'm arguing with this thing, Yeah. So, that's why it was really fun to connect with my fans on YouTube because whenever they say something and I respond, to their comments, like, oh my gosh, you saw me. And it's like, I realize now that connection is real and they do genuinely care about comics art and they just needed someone to say it's okay to want to be an artist or to want to try to do comics. I know it's hard, but but it's enjoyable, I guess, if you just do it for fun at the very least. And, if you're passionate enough about it to join a chat where people are talking about this stuff, then why not just make it enjoyable for them? So, yeah, it's very important.
It's one of the last sort of good things left about the internet is that you could still find people who can, if you don't have people locally who share your interests or can encourage you to do things you want to do, it's one of the last places that you could look for that kind of encouragement. I mean, there's tons of bad stuff. We all know.
We all know that.
We've all run into that terrible side of the internet, but that's the last good thing left, I feel like, is that, you have someone like you who's sort of encouraging people and doing things like that, which is nice, sort of building a community.
And that's what we've done. We've done here.
We've tried.
We're trying to build a community of people who like comic books and we love talking to creators and we love helping our creators get what they're making out there. And that's, and again, I 100% agree with you. You can never get into an argument on it. And we have negative comments, but you have one negative comment and you have 100, 200 positive comments.
Yeah.
Ignore the negative comments. That's how we live.
What I do.
Or you
That's what I do.
Or you sit up at night with your phone and just focus on that negative comment.
No, you can't.
Over and over again. No.
We've been there. We've been there at some point. You're like, it's not worth it.
It's not.
Because you get to the back, you go out there and you bust your butt.
Yeah.
And you step into the arena, and that's how I get my revenge. I'm a vengeful person. I like to go and make positivity out of whatever like bad things people decide they want to say. I don't hear a lot of bad things, which is good. But at the same time, if it was out there, it doesn't really matter to me much, So
it definitely shouldn't.
So it's hard enough as it is as an artist. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Drawing is hard. So having to add all that extra baggage is just not worth it. So
Right.
So what got you into comic books? So just give us a little background on your journey into comic books.
Oh yeah. So I needed to call my dad again and tell him thank you. But I had a younger brother who was I don't know how he knew about comic books exactly, but he asked my dad to go buy a comic book, and I don't know why and how I tagged along with him, but my dad knew I was drawing. I was always drawing. So my dad was like, oh, she probably wants to see this store. And then I saw Swamp Thing, or my dad was like, hey, you get a book, he gets a book. And so I was like, oh, cool. So I walked around looking for something. And for some reason, Swamp Thing stuck out to me. I think I might have seen the movie or something.
Okay.
But I like the way I like greenery. I love plants. I mean, if you look behind me, there's like plants. And so I was like, Swamp Thing's my guy. So I bought Swamp Thing, but my brother got Wolverine. I think Silvestri was drawing it. It was the Crunch Conundrum, that one with Mojo. And I flipped through it and I saw those t-shirt designs that had Jim Lee's art on it from X-Men 1, and I fell in love with his art, and I wanted to find those books, so I didn't know what book it was. And then my dad took us to another shop, and it had the X-Men 1 with Jim Lee on it, and it had all it was all the covers already. And I fell in love, and I started to draw, try to draw exactly what Jim was drawing. And so that's how it started for me, from like elementary all the way up until high school. I just never stopped. And so and my dad never told me not to stop drawing. In fact, I was like, hey dad, I think I'm going to take comics seriously. And I swear to God, and I've never told anybody this, but do you know what? Why my dad thought it was okay for me to go draw comics? I was like, hey, here's Mark Silvestri. Do you see his Dodge Viper here in this Wizard magazine? They're making bank, Dad. And he's like, okay, cool. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do that, but whatever. And, then he took me to, I think it was Office Depot, and he got me a drafting table, and that's all it took. And I was like, oh my God, my dad believes in me, or at least he believes my bullshit.
Awesome.
I don't know.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really good. It's funny because like that's the perfect era to say like, oh look, comic artists can make a lot of money because those guys made so much money, but they were like the last people to ever really make that much money.
They were rock stars. They really were. They were rock stars.
Right.
I will hand
commercials,
it to them. All of it.
On MTV, they were huge.
Yeah, they were
on the Levi's commercial.
Exactly. I was just going to say,
I remember
Spike
that.
Lee directed a Levi's commercial with
Rob
Liefeld. Yeah.
Oh, trust me, I remember that because I'm like, I had like stars in my eyes.
Yeah.
We all did. I was talking to, I think it was, Joe Benitez and Carlos Dienda, and we were talking. They're like, "Yeah, we thought we were going to be superstars. We come in and we had like scraps left over from all of that. Like, we were like we're driving around in a Pinto or something like that. It was so funny. Yeah, I know. And so this is what's really cool about chatting with you guys. Is I feel like I haven't really done any kind of ever since I haven't done cons for about 5 years. I haven't really been talking to any kind of, any kind of outlets or anything like that. So I feel like I'm being reintroduced right now to the world again. So this is very interesting. Like I thought for sure I thought I was just going to come back like, oh yeah, it's all the same, but it's so different now. It's so awesome to have all these podcasts online and stuff for comics and toys and films and stuff. So
yeah, there's such a wide, varied community of people into all this stuff doing all these different kinds of shows and outlets and whatever format. It's really good for right now for people who are.
It's good for comics. It's good for creators.
It is good
really
for comics. It is. I think it is good for comics
because basically what we're getting behind the scene basically of what you're working on and what other creators we've had on, and people get to hear from what you're developing. I don't think there's ever been a time where we could do that.
I agree.
I mean, what do we have at a convention? You have maybe 5 minutes to talk to a creator, and here we have you for a length of time where you can tell us everything about how you got to where you are now and about every project you're working on.
Yeah, I mean, we would have killed for this as kids in the 80s.
Absolutely, 100%. We would have
Me too.
killed for this.
Yeah, there would have been like a a blurb in the newspaper about like something comic related, and we'd be like, "What?
Yeah.
What does it mean?"
They mentioned.
Oh, I know.
Like,
It's
you said, that Gene commercial. When you see when you see Todd,
Rob
Liefeld at a gym, you're like, wait, that's Rob Liefeld. He's a comic guy. It was, to me, one of the coolest things. And I remember growing up, there was in the late 1980s, there was a
Couldn't wrap my head around it.
There was a Marvel Comics commercial where they had a bunch of kids on the playground reading Marvel Comics, and I was like, wait. That's a commercial. I had never seen anything.
Nah.
I need to go. I've never seen that. I want to go look for that now.
Oh, you find it on YouTube.
You can find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's from like 1989 to 1990, and it's like 6 kids reading Marvel Comics on the playground.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
And that was an advertisement,
for
for
Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do that for my own Kickstarter. Go put together a quick commercial with, like, some kids.
Watch that one and copy it.
That was
exactly.
Yeah, I'm paying homage to it.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
excellent.
and then people were like, "Yes, that's a great. Let's go back our Kickstarter now."
Yes.
Yeah, because
That's
I mean, back in the 80s, we had like Wizard.
had nothing.
Wizard wasn't around.
No.
There was really very few places to look for like interviews with comic creators or artists, right? And you go to conventions, like Chad was saying, you didn't have time to really talk to people, but also there was a weird. This doesn't exist now, which is great. But back then, there was also this kind of gatekeeping attitude where, like, if you asked a comic professional, and I'm not going to say any names.
No, please don't.
Like, oh, how would you do this? They'd be like, why you want to know? Like, here's my autograph. Go away.
Yeah.
Like that was the attitude because they were worried that you were going to take something from them. Because like back then, like the big companies especially were dog eat dog environments. But it's not like that now. Like everything seems so much more open now. And like people are willing to talk about their process and how they do this and, things like that.
And who their influences are. In the past, you would never hear.
Never.
It's very interesting. It's so funny. No. Like, I mean, oversharing is definitely a thing, but at the same time, I feel like we have to grow this pie, this so that we have future readers and stuff like that. So I think that's the problem with gatekeeping in some ways for so long. It's like now you've lost a whole generation where if you just would have been possibly putting it out there as much as possible, you'd grow that pie. I mean, look at manga. I guess that's the comparison. I still love, American comics because of the way that they are. European comics, it's just like all the mediums have their, pros, to being a certain way. And I think I'm trying to merge all that. But yeah, the gatekeeping is definitely a problem. That's why I put myself out there in terms of showing my process and stuff. But then I also have to maintain a certain level of privacy too with my own personal life and stuff like that. Oh, yeah,
of course.
But I think putting out just enough, and if it's all just about your work, a lot of times you'll be okay, I think. So
sure. Well, I would think I would think people shouldn't cross that line and get into personal stuff. We want to know more about your work, and that's everything off there is not like really not anyone's business. I would,
I would be curious, and I don't know if this is true, but this is a thought just occurred to me. Do you think that female creators face more pressure to talk about their personal lives than male creators do? Because I don't think I've ever heard of a male creator saying like, "Oh, they keep asking me about my personal life."
You're right, and we've interviewed a lot of people. Yeah, we've had a lot of people on the show. And we've never heard that before. I'd be curious
to know if that's like particularly something that people talk about with female creators.
Yeah, let me see. I'm wondering. I guess I want to make sure I'm being thoughtful when I say this. So I think it's because, like I said, I was on MySpace early on. And so this was pre-comic book because I started to work at Aspen towards the tail end of the whole MySpace thing, and then it became Facebook. So I think that just because I was already out there online, there might be that. I'm wondering if I didn't have that and I was just flat out, as soon as I became a comic book artist, I was just known for that. Then it might be maybe a little bit different, maybe slightly, but I'm pretty sure there's probably a little bit more of the curious about the personal stuff, just a tiny bit more. Because I try to treat myself the way that any other creator would hopefully treat themselves in their work, so that you don't get the excess, personal stuff. I mean, it does happen here and there, but I think I'm pretty good at like deflecting it in a way, which, I think it's like that with anything. If you put yourself out there, even if it's not maybe personal for the, male artists and stuff like that, they might have other things where people will either attack them for, or say, or, there's slander here and there. I mean, it's a give and take with everything, I think. So. Yeah.
Cause I mean, unfortunately, like we were talking about, like toxic internet environment that a lot of that does get directed at females online, more than males, I would say. I think anyway, from what I've read and what I've seen. And I was just wondering if that had something to do with it. That if
probably some of it.
If these the creeps out there just feel like, oh well, I could ask this because we're online. It might be just sort of a.
Well, that's one of the worst parts about online is that part that there's no face behind it, and I feel like I can say whatever I want to you. I don't have to face you face to face.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm sure there is. I'm definitely aware of that. But at the same time, it's like there's ways to deal with everything because at least you try to. It's like if your focus is your work and your focus is also your privacy and just being able to do those things, and there's a way to carry yourself as best as you can, whether it's in person or online. Because I go to conventions, I'm with the guys at Aspen and stuff like that. So there's like I said, there's a give and take with a lot of things, and just having some respect for your personal space. If you know that ahead of time and you don't give too much, then you'll prevent that a lot of those things, whether it's that or just turning in late work and stuff like that. Like there's a way to prevent a lot of things from happening that you don't want to have happen. But yeah, there's probably definitely, I should probably ask other creators because the closest person I know that's a female creator like myself would be Blake Northcott.
Okay.
So, yeah. But her and I have like a silly sense of humor. She's Canadian, and we don't really talk about the really bad things, I guess, that could possibly happen to us, some of the things that would be said. But I think her and I are both really good at like ignoring that kind of stuff, and we have pretty thick skin. We've been around for a while, so
that's good.
Still feels kind of crummy that you have to worry about.
Oh, I appreciate you guys worrying for me. You should.
Yeah, it's just.
It's just.
I'm just joking.
It's just.
I really appreciate that. No, seriously, I know it is. It is what it is. But there's there's pros and cons to everything. Like there's a trade off. Like you put yourself out there. There's a certain amount of trade off every time you decide to do something. Like even when I decided to live stream, I'm like, is there a trade off right now with what I'm doing? And if there is that trade-off, how do I mitigate too much of a trade-off where I'm like, okay, I shouldn't have done that. So
right. Yeah, putting ourselves out on YouTube. We haven't heard anything that we didn't hear when we were kids in the 80s.
Sure, that's so. We grew up at a time when this was not cool. When this was
you didn't talk about comics. It was secret. Like. You had like little signals that maybe in case to other kids in school, you'd be like,
you didn't.
You're like,
exactly. Yeah. you wouldn't say it out loud ever, No.
That's interesting. Yeah. So did the commercials on TV and stuff make it cool for people to start talking about it? You see,
I think
the movies.
It was really when the movies got really popular. Yeah.
Batman 89.
Batman 89 was a big move forward.
Because before that, and it's
things like The Crow.
We're a little bit older, and prior to Batman 89, you would never wear like a comic book shirt. After Batman 89, you could wear a Batman shirt, and no one would look at you funny. So.
Right. Yeah.
That's really neat. Then I didn't know that right before that you guys. They shoved you in closets and lockers.
It was like a hidden, like you went into your comic shop. It was like you didn't want anybody to see you going into the comic shop. No. And you knew those guys in the comic shop, and like you didn't really want to see them outside of the comic shop. Listen. You had those one or two friends who also collect comics, and that was the only people you talked about comics with. You didn't. No one else even knew.
No.
And listen, and we did same thing happens now for us. Like we work with a lot of people. A lot of people don't know that we do this. Like, and we do this. No, there's a lot of people that don't know that this is part of our life now.
It's okay. I swear it's okay. See, I'm telling you, there is a trade-off. I've never had that problem. Ever admitting that I read comics or even bringing them to school. So there is a trade-off. See, you had to deal with that. No one ever shoved me in the...
Well, we have to deal with it now, too, because we're both teachers, and we really worry about our students seeing some of the stuff that we do on here.
Well, anything.
What are you guys doing on here, huh?
No.
Just joking.
The fact that we do this it's like, and we'll have one or two kids that see it, and they'll be like, Collector's Confessions. We're like, okay. Yes, you
so
saw
funny.
us.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's
I get
still
it.
one of those things.
Yeah.
No, I do that too. I definitely, when I go to restaurants and stuff, and then my partner John would be like, "Oh yeah, she draws comic books." I'm like,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, when they hear comic books, they either think Batman or they think Garfield. There's no in betweens.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
You draw Garfield? Holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, you draw comics, like not comic strips.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
That's a good
and then
one.
I'll have to go like Spider-Man and stuff, and I don't know if it registers that way. I don't know, but I don't care. I just know that every time he says it, he does it on purpose because he knows that I go, yeah.
That's really fun.
It's true because, I mean, the public's image of comics is very limited.
Very limited.
And I mean, I just wish we could, there are ways we could expand it, but it's so hard.
Yeah, because then you have like a whole diatribe about it for like 4 paragraphs about Iron Man, because they know the Avengers and know the movies.
Yeah, sure.
But then and so they're like, oh, you actually draw those things like by hand? I'm like, I think I do. Yeah. It's, and because when I go out, I'm wearing, my high heels or whatever, and I'm carrying a purse, and I'm just like, it just doesn't, I get it. I'm very self-aware. The image doesn't go together very well. There's a stereotype for sure. And I'm okay with it. I mean, it is what it is, but I think it's funny. At some point, I'm just going to own up to it. Like, yes, I do draw comic books. And I just throw my purse over my shoulder.
You'd be like, who's your favorite character? And whenever they say, you're like, yeah, I drew that.
I drew that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Barbie, mine. Yeah.
I created him. Batman, I created him.
Yeah,
I created Batman.
That's
yeah, for sure. I did. Yeah, I'm old enough to create Batman.
People don't know. So with Neo Wonderland, what do you want your fans to walk away with after they read that?
That they come back for the next one.
That's
no, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
I want them to come away thinking that if I can do it, that they could at least try to reach whatever goals or dreams they have inside just a little bit and get that little spark, because that spark is so important. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for the process. But for the story, I just hope that, we take a look around and see what the world can be if we're not, aware of ourselves as human beings, and each other and humanity. I think that's very important. And family, it's just, that's why the family is supposed to tie this whole thing together, because cyberpunk is inherently very artificial. And, so that's kind of the juxtaposition I'm going for, is just to see the natural versus unnatural. I mean, my favorite hobby is backpacking and hiking and stuff. And so I go out there, I see that I'm at the bottom of the pecking order when it comes to bears and mountain lions and stuff like that. And so I think I'm taking that and putting it into this cyberpunk book in hopes that people will kind of see, like, maybe I should look around me and see the humanity and the beauty and like the natural things, as well as the things that we do make as human beings, and how it is beneficial, but then not let it take over our, I guess, sense of being, I suppose.
I like that.
I just gave my whole premise away. It's like, oh
There you
God,
go.
I do have to read the book. You already told me what it's about. Who
Thank
cares?
you.
Oh, no. I think that would encourage people to
That should encourage you to read the book and
absolutely
support the Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel? You've been around for quite a while. How do you feel the comic book landscape has changed over the last few years, especially indie comics?
It is. Don't you feel like it's just kind of someone took a box of puzzles, and right before you finish it, they just throw up in the air, and you're like, oh, well, there's a few pieces missing, and now you're not going to have this full piece, and we don't know what this is. Whether it's distribution, and then page rates, and then all these indie books coming out. So right now it's like the Wild West of creators, and stuff like that. And so I think I was talking to one of my buddies on their podcast, and I was like, well, you're right, it is the Wild West. So people who really want to do this are going to pave this new direction for all of us in some ways, and how it's going to look in the next few years or so. And I think it's just going to change completely with the distribution being the way it is, and then creators having more say and more, I guess, control over their own IP and their own work and stuff like that. So it's rough, but I think it's actually not going to be a bad thing in the long run. It's always like the growing pains of trying to figure out this whole thing. I think it's going to be around. It's just going to take a new, I think, form. I'm not sure what you guys see as well, but.
Well, there are things that make me very optimistic.
There's concerns.
There are things that make me very optimistic, but there are a lot of concerns. Like I've noticed a couple of new comic book stores that opened in our area no longer sell new comics. They only sell back issues. And
Yeah, I know about that. Yeah.
That's worrying.
That should be worrying.
Because, you know, without
it's getting harder to make money selling new
comics. Yeah. And when you hear like, you know, companies like DC are like psyched over 400,000 issues being sold in a month, that's worrying because, I mean, we talked about X-Men #1. What did that sell? 2 million?
Yeah.
Or something?
Three, maybe.
Yeah, it was like some insane
number.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now we're happy about
400,000 is like a bestseller. And so there's some worrying things. But then again, you have this whole new digital aspect of things where comics are now accessible online in lots of new ways, which a lot of purists are not very happy about.
I do not like that. I do not read any comic books digitally.
I'm the same way.
I read the two big ones.
I have everything. Online. Everything is in my hand.
Yeah. And any indies I buy. But I don't know. It's definitely a weird time. Definitely a weird time. But I've been collecting since I was 4.
So to me, the other side is there's so much more opportunity with comic book properties, and we've interviewed a lot of people. And the thing that always surprises us is your ability to option for movie or TV. I think that's amazing that that they come looking now.
Well,
Hollywood looks for these great properties, and it's like you said, it's the Wild West. But there's a lot of money out there, and if you have a good property, you could make a fortune and never have anything even made. Like,
well, that's it. Every company is starving for content. Everyone wants to replicate Marvel and Warner Brothers' success with comics. So, yeah.
I'm glad you guys are saying that because this is my own personal little solution that I'm working around in my head, and that's why the Kickstarter is so important. I'm not reinventing a wheel, but I do feel like now that it's more about community. And that's what comic books was. That's what arcades used to be and video stores. Like people would hang out. And that's why I love my live stream so much. We joked about like, I'm going to put this arcade / bar / comic book store / coffee shop in my comic book. And the reason for that is building a community of people that have like-minded things. And it doesn't have to be all just comic books, but if you want people, I think nowadays to come into the shop, you have to offer that sense of community. Yes. And I think that if creators now that are having Kickstarters and stuff would actually go to the stores, sign, and then offer up the books, meet the fans. And I think even Marvel and DC could do that and push out the creators more and do these signings and show up at the community. I honestly was like, if I made a certain amount of money off this Kickstarter, I swear to you, I was talking to my girlfriend about this and her husband and my partner. And I'm like, I would like to open up an arcade, but I want a comic book store in there with new books. I'm going to have my friends come and sign every so often. I could even do, we could have little classes for like Ryan Benjamin or something like that. I could just come and teach drawing, whatever. But you have to open it up again, make it more than just like a transactional thing in these shops. Yeah, and I think
absolutely,
because my goal would be obviously to have just enough money where I could just make these books, but then you kind of expand it and build the industry from basically the ground up at this point. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I know it's lofty, but I feel like if we're very specific about those goals, and it shouldn't be that hard to do, but everybody's kind of gonna have to realize, like, that's why bookstores are still special. Like the small, cute bookstores, people still go there because there's a feeling and a vibe and a sense of like belonging when you go into these really neat bookstores. And I think that comic shops have to basically be that way, but you have to pull in the creators too, especially ones that are kickstarting online and stuff. Like, we're making this money now, but we forget that if we don't hold up the mom and pop shops, it'd be kind of hard to see it in 10 years,
Yeah. You need to have an experience. People want to pay for experience, not just a thing, but they want to pay for something that feels like an experience.
And they want somewhere that you feel like you belong, that I can go there and I
belong
saying,
here. Yeah, like you don't want to have to hide. Yeah.
No, I'm welcome here. And I think that's something that we always look for is in our comic shops, and when we go to conventions, and we go to a lot, we look for like kids and teenagers. So are they coming out to these comic shops? Are they coming out to these conventions? And if they're not, then we're doomed. It can't survive. Yeah. It can't survive without the next generation, because this generation is getting a little bit long in the tooth.
And they're very sophisticated.
Very sophisticated with
these days. And they're very sophisticated.
And we've noticed an increase in our local comic shop here in Staten Island. We've noticed an increase in teenagers coming in there to buy books, and they're looking for DC Comics and indie comics, and they're really expanding their range, which is I think is really what all of the companies in comic books should be doing. They should be pushing to younger kids to say, yeah, I know you love the movies. Here's the books coming
and the tie-in, the actual tie-in, and I think that's what's hard about young kids. They're like, I want to start reading Spider-Man, but there's like 20 Spider-Man number ones.
Where do you start?
Yeah, exactly. Where do you start? And I think that's why people like manga. From what I could tell, is you go to the bookstore, you just look, just pretend like you don't know anything. You see 1, 2, 3, 4 saying just like that dress makes it so easy to incomprehensive for younger kids to go in there and get stuff. And that's what I'm hoping with my own book. I mean, like, it's one little tiny drop in the bucket, but I feel like if you do just enough hustling with this whole thing, that maybe you might influence some people to just kind of look around and maybe change a few things here and there and try to cobble something together that's called comic books again. Because I told my fans, I'm like, if my Kickstarter doesn't work out, you guys, I'm gonna go open a flower shop. I can't not draw comic books. What am I gonna do? I was half joking, but I'm like, what if I have to open a flower shop now? Because
it would be a flower shop, arcade, coffee shop, comic shop.
Yes, no, seriously, it's starting to become like 20 stories tall at this point.
And Neo Wonderland is a perfect name for an arcade comic shop.
That really would be.
It's a perfect
Oh, wow.
Neo
Why did I not think of that?
It's a perfect name.
I was trying to come up with some fancy name.
Neo Wonderland. No, you have a name already. Neo Wonderland is perfect.
Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much. If I do open this, I'm going to personally invite you and thank you myself. Like, guess what, you guys? I had like this fancy pants name for it, but I should have just named it Neo Wonderland.
Neo Wonderland. You made the name already.
Oh my gosh, you guys, thank you. That's so awesome.
Do you have any appearances coming up? You have any conventions or anything promoting Neo Wonderland? We just want to get those out there so people come see you.
I didn't have it for promoting Neo Wonderland, but I will be in Orlando for their original art convention in February. But as soon as the book comes out and everybody gets it in their hands, then I could be like, okay, let's start planning some stuff. People are going to be tired of seeing me. I'm going to go to all the stores and start signing and conventions.
Good.
Hi, it's me again. So
that's good. Good. Let us know if you're going to be in our New York area. We'd love to come see you.
So do you guys do New York Comic Con then?
We do.
Unfortunately.
It's exhausting. But we do.
It's exhausting and expensive.
Exhausting.
If you're not from there, right?
Exhausting.
And unfortunately, we were talking about like comic community. There are less and less comics every time we go.
Yeah.
Oh, what's over there then?
It's a lot of just,
games, movies, TV shows.
Still? I thought for some reason it felt like what happened with San Diego Comic Con when the studio started pulling out and some of the big studios. Nope, not in New York.
No, New York Comic Con, 2 rows of comic books being sold. That was it on the floor. 2 rows. That's it now. And we were very disappointed. The creative area is fantastic. More and more creative than we've ever seen.
Oh, we love but the Art Alley is great.
Comic area and the vendors were complaining they were limiting the number of tables they could have. They were very upset with the way things were this year.
Yeah.
Very disappointing. But we go to a lot of small conventions. We go to, some of the larger ones in New Jersey and
New Jersey. Which one's in New Jersey that you would recommend?
There's
King Con is not really.
Garden State Comic Fest, that's one, and Super Jersey Comic Expo is 2. And not in Jersey, but at Terrificon. Terrificon is a fantastic convention.
That's Connecticut.
And Baltimore. I was just at Baltimore the week after New York was Baltimore. Baltimore is a amazing comic book convention. It's none of the glitz and glamour of New York. It's creators and comic books literally side by side. One side is a creator and the other side is a guy selling comics. It is by far the best comic book convention on the East Coast, in my opinion.
Well, I'm going to have to contact you guys personally and have you give me a list of those, because when it's time for me to go out there, I would love to meet you in person. And
we go to a lot of
conventions that I've never actually even thought about in the East Coast.
Yeah, we go to a lot. We have in the next 2 weeks, I think we're going to 3 in 2 weeks.
Nice.
And we've been to New York and Baltimore the weeks before. So it's, like you said, hustling, we hustle.
I'm so glad you guys didn't get sick, because a few of my friends got sick at New York, and it's probably, because they probably didn't sleep and stuff. And they just...
Oh, I was waiting for that.
Yeah, I was.
What did Gore call it? Gore at our
local comic shop, JHU Comics.
He calls it Concrud.
Concrud. Yeah,
the Concrud.
Concrud.
Yeah.
Yep. This has been great.
It's been great.
We are really happy to have had this conversation with you. We're looking forward to maybe you coming on the show again if you have a chance.
Anytime you want to come on to promote anything,
Awesome.
just
Thank
let
you
us
so
know.
much, you
Yeah,
guys.
please
I
just
had a lot of
email.
fun.
Thank you.
That's great. Is there anything else you wanted to ask before we close out?
No, who's your favorite X-Men? I always ask that for some reason. Your favorite X-Men?
Oh, okay.
I always end with
no judgment.
That question. You could say anyone. We've had some weird answers.
Okay, my first favorite was Psylocke. My second was Rogue, and then it became Gambit. But then I'm like, well, I like Wolverine. So you see how you kind of rotate around them a little bit?
That's why I asked the question.
Is that
I know.
legit? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I jumped from Nightcrawler to Wolverine. And sometimes every once in a while, I think Cyclops is an underrated character.
Yeah, I realize it. Without Cyclops, everybody else wouldn't be as cool, you know?
Right.
You kind of needed that glue.
Everyone answers it, and no one's ever. I have the weirdest answer.
What's your answer?
I love Dazzler. I am a huge Dazzler fan.
Okay.
Dazzler is my favorite mutant.
Oh, yeah, she wasn't.
My favorite mutant in the X-Men, and she's been for many.
Disco Dazzler.
That is correct.
All right.
I love
Again,
it.
no judgment.
No judgment. That's my favorite. That's my favorite mutant. I have every one of her appearances. I buy all of that. Yeah. And what are you going to say?
Yeah.
Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Welcome back anytime.
Yeah.
Just let us know.
I'll see
And
you guys.
we'll send you
A copy of this.
copies and a link to the video for the commercial so you can do the
Awesome.
commercial.
Perfect. Yeah,
right.
I'm gonna chop it all up so you guys make me look really cool. So
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, best of luck on the Kickstarter, and we hope to talk to you again.
Ren, Kickstarter in the description, so get on there right now and contribute, and you can get some really cool stuff. So
absolutely.
awesome.
Neo
Thank you
Wonderland.
guys so much.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
So that was Siya Oum. Another really good interview. Hopefully you guys are enjoying these. If there is a creator that you would like to see, please send us an email or in the comments tell us. We'd love to see whoever you like on here.
Mm-hmm.
We really enjoy doing these. We're glad that everyone says yes when we ask them to come on.
Mm-hmm.
Siya Oum was fantastic. Thanks for watching. Love what you collect.
Collect what you love.
We'll see you next time.